Hello everyone, it's Mike, and I'm back with another episode of Spelunky 2. Like in the previous episode, I'm going to try and start from the very beginning again, because I am trying to get $50,000 to bring to Mama Tunnel so she can finish her shortcut. And I was debating whether or not I would do this off screen, you know, play as much as I can to get to 50,000, but I figured I might as well show you guys me trying to do it, and you know, I realize, what is the rush? Why do I need to be in such a rush to beat this game? I'll take my time and enjoy it, and also, you know, show you guys that I did it legit, that I actually was able to get $50,000 and bring it to Mama Tunnel. So, you know, this is going to be a series where I take my time, and I plan on I'm enjoying this so much, playing this game and making these videos for you all, that I plan on doing this for the foreseeable future, because this is a game that just has almost endless replay value. So, yeah. But, you know, I was just thinking about it. I'm a fan of another YouTube channel, you know, the Game Grumps. Aaron and Dan, they're hilarious. I love those guys. And some of their series have gone into like hundreds of episodes, and people kept watching, so, you know, I shouldn't be so concerned with being like, I have to beat this game as quickly as possible. Like, you know, have fun, take my time, and enjoy the game, and hopefully you guys will stick around, and I hope you don't become bored. But like I said, to me, this game, the way it's made, or just the way it is every run is different, so it's always... Sorry, Monty. Monty, I'm so sorry, bud. I panicked. I saw that skeleton, I panicked. Monty, I'm so sorry. That's on me. Ah, my poor sweet Monty. I can't afford the compass yet. I have also been thinking about, like, oh, I can at least buy some ropes, I think. Yeah. Alright. Even though I'm trying to get $50,000, I'll also try to be getting as much resources as I can in these earlier stages, because I feel like the further you get into the game, shops becomes, you know, more rare or sparse? Sparse. I think that's the way you say that word. You know, they're harder to find, and, you know, in order for me to even get to Mama Tunnel all the way at the beginning of Area 4, I need to, you know, possibly make sure I have plenty of resources, because I had to use a rope just now, as you can see. And taking my time, sneak up on this guy, get him out of here. Okay, I see that arrow trap. Hopefully I should be far enough away. Well, I'm not gonna risk going over there, but at least I'll get that gold. Go over here. Alright. And it's amazing how over time I've slowly been, you know, getting better at this game in my... Hopefully, I could be wrong, but at least getting better at noticing traps, being more careful with my decision making. Oh my goodness, this horned lizard seriously has been a problem. I keep throwing him where I want to go. Okay. See if I can grab that golden idol. Also, I just got a notification that there was an update for Spelunky 2. I recently joined the Spelunky subreddit on Reddit, and I noticed someone made a post about a new update. I'm not sure if they were talking about the original Spelunky. I'd be surprised at that game still being updated, but they might have been talking about Spelunky 2, and someone said how, like, the new update can crash the game, so I'm kind of nervous to see what happens. But some people, the person said that, like, a fix is that you can uninstall the game and reinstall it, and then it should work. I'm trying to figure out how I can get this idol, because I really don't have room to grab it and run out. I'm not gonna risk it, but that is a lot of money. Dang it. But yeah, that's something I noticed, so we'll see what happens if I run into any issues with the game, but hopefully it won't lose my save file, because that would be heartbreaking. If that were to happen, I would off screen try to get back to where I was, so you guys don't have to watch me literally play the game all over again, and all these episodes of progress were meaningless. So we'll see what happens, but I'm optimistic, and I'm hoping, you know, and that's something that happens sometimes, you know, with updates or patches. Like, they can sometimes break the game even though they're trying to fix it. And it's interesting, I've talked with some people recently about the idea of, you know, back in my day, back in the, you know, when I first was playing video games, you know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, you know, starting even with the original Nintendo, the idea that, like, when you bought a video game cartridge, that was it. Like, there were no updates or patches or anything like that. It was just, that's the game. You have it. It's done. Like, there's no longer any, hang on. I'm curious to see if those traps are activated. I might just play it safe and drop a rope. Yeah, they were. Okay. Okay. But, like I was saying, oh yeah, because that caveman fell all the way down there. I'll bring this just in case. But like I was saying, yeah, back in the day, and you know, that makes me sound old. I am 33, but back in the day, if you bought a video dang, I was looking at that the gold and that gem down there, wasn't paying attention to that arrow trap. Do I want to waste a rope to get that money? Is it worth it? 4 ropes. I am trying to accumulate money. Sure. Hopefully, you know, I will. Oh, wow. Okay. So I gotta be careful when even climbing down in the spikes, because what happened just there, there was a skeleton that popped up. I bounced off of him. That gave me enough height to fall in the spikes. Okay. Good to know. Learning. Oh, well. Back here again. But like I was saying, yeah, back in the day, you'd buy a video game cartridge and that was it. That was the game. And, you know, video game developers and publishers, they had to the best of their ability, make sure that the game they released was, you know, was ready, and, you know, that it was of good quality, and that, like, they were able to minimize or reduce as many bugs or glitches as they could. And, you know, if you even remember, I don't know if Nintendo still does it, because it's been a while since I bought a new Nintendo game, but, you know, I still remember back then even that, like, they used to have the Nintendo seal of approval, you know, that was like quality guaranteed, like the best quality in this video game cartridge, and like, you know, it was something that has definitely changed nowadays in the world of video games. Like, you know, so many games come out now. I sometimes feel that, like, video game developers and publishers are so concerned with, you know, making, you know, release dates. Like, that is their main primary concern, and sometimes they have the idea that, like, oh, you know, as long as we make the release date, like, that's what's important. You know, we'll fix bugs or glitches later, we'll patch it, we'll update it. And as consumers, we've kind of just, like, you know, come to accept that as, like, the new model. And, you know, the more I think about it, there's pros and cons to both sides of it. Of, like, yes, back in the day, you know, developers and publishers were more concerned with being like, we have to make sure this game is to the best quality we can. But if you still think about it, like, many old NES games, like, famously still have glitches and stuff, and there's no way to fix them. They're just, that's it, that's part of the game. I don't know if, like, you know, people can do ROM hacks and potentially fix the bugs and glitches, but, you know, yeah, back then, like, that's it. Like, and you know, and if you're even familiar with, like, the speedrun community, like, there are whole speedruns dedicated to, like, glitched runs of games, because there's glitches that can be exploited. And, you know, like I said, it's, I sometimes find myself wondering, like, what model's better in the end, because I've had, in my personal experience, like, if you, of course, are familiar with the video game, the Elder Scrolls 5, I think it's 5, you know, Skyrim. When that game came out, you know, of course, I can't remember when it came out on PC, but I'm mainly a console gamer, so I know the PC elite will be like, a console gamer, but it is, you know, to each their own. But for me, like, what happened was, like, I bought Skyrim, like, on launch, release date, like, I was so excited to play it, but unfortunately, you know, I bought it for PC, or not PC, PS3, excuse me, and what I came to find out was that, this might be too big of a drop. Oh, no, it wasn't. Hang on, I need to get rid of this guy. Okay. Oh, that mole. That mole. How am I looking on supplies? I need ropes. Okay, let me buy this real quick. Ow! Are you kidding me? I bought Skyrim when it came out, day one, on PS3, and there was a bug in the game, because apparently, I guess Bethesda, they built it for, like, you know, at the time, the 360, and then they simply ported the game over to PS3 without really, this is what I heard anyways, I could be wrong, but, like, they just ported the game over to the PS3, not realizing that, you know, at the time, you know, the Xbox 360 and the PS3 fundamentally have different ways that, you know, the systems are made or their architecture works, and, like, there became this issue where, like, anything you picked up and dropped in the world in Skyrim on PS3, the game, just because of the way the PS3, I guess, saves data, it was constantly saving every single item somehow, or, like, allocating, you know, I'm not an expert on, like, computers or video game systems, like how they actually work, but, like, from my understanding, it was, like, essentially, I wonder if I can make this. Okay, it was just constantly saving all that data and not, like, kind of getting rid of it over time, so eventually the game, the frame rate chugged to, it was barely playable. And eventually they patched it and they fixed it, but it's just an example of, like, they should have made sure, instead of trying to have the release date, make the release date for all the different platforms, like, Bethesda should have made sure that there were no issues like that, because that was a game-breaking issue to the point I couldn't play Skyrim for a while until they fixed it. So, you know, like I said, it's a double-edged sword of, like, on the one hand, you get games that can, ouch. Alright. Damn. Darn, I should say. I try to minimize profanity, but dang it. It's okay. You know, I'm not even stressing, because right now I'm just kind of having fun. I'm just glad I'm playing Spelunky 2, and I can just take my time, and I'm trying to, you know, I got a specific goal I'm trying to accomplish, and I hope you guys don't mind. But like I said, you know, it also just gives me a chance to talk to you guys, and I'm getting better at, like, being able to focus on what I'm doing, but also talking to you. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it kind of, like, you know, like I said, I'm still not exactly sure how I feel about how video games are nowadays, of relying on, like, patches and updates to fix things, instead of, you know, how they were back then, of just right out the box, it's done and it's ready to play and should be good. Ow. Well, that was horrible. Because even, like, a more recent example, you know, I'm a huge comic book superhero fan, and of course the new Avengers game, I bought that for PS4, and I didn't really pay attention to reviews or anything, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this game, get a chance to play as Captain America, sign me up. But, like, you know, it came to my attention, and a lot of people, and I also was I started paying attention to the Avengers, I think it's called Play Avengers subreddit, and, like, just, you know, unfortunately, the Avengers game has a lot of issues, and, like, or, you know, on launch or release, you know, had a lot of bugs and issues and glitches, and it was a very buggy game. thoroughly, and I'll try to avoid any spoilers or anything, but I thoroughly enjoyed playing it. Like, the story was really great. I didn't really know much about Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, but I've come to love that character. She was really portrayed well in the game, and it's a great story. Of course, I love the characters, and like, it was fun. The gameplay is fun. Like, I feel like Captain America when you play as Captain America. It is awesome, and like, but unfortunately, yeah, I noticed them too. I encountered a lot of bugs and issues while playing, and unfortunately, it almost got to the point like, and it is like a game. It's one of those games as a service kind of thing model, where like they intend to keep updating it and playing. You keep playing, and like, unfortunately, I did encounter an issue where after you complete the story, essentially like the endgame content, if you're familiar with like MMOs or whatever, like a lot of people are excited to get through the main game just so they can start playing the endgame content or after the story content, and like in that game, you have kind of like mission chains, like missions you have to accomplish to progress, certain mission chains, and unfortunately, I encountered an issue where even though I had completed certain missions that I needed to complete to progress, the endgame content, or and I hope when I say endgame, you're not thinking of the movie Endgame. I'm just literally saying content at the end of the game, like after you beat the game. And like, in order for me to progress the main mission chain, I had completed the missions I needed to, but for whatever reason the game wasn't registering that those missions were being completed. So essentially I was stuck and I couldn't progress further, and it was really frustrating. But to Crystal Dynamics, I think is the name of the developers or the studio under Square Enix that made the game, to their credit, I am very appreciative that they are doing their best to like fix the game and work on it, and that's great. And like, because sometimes you can feel like these developers or whatever, they release their game, they got their money, and they don't care anymore. But no, like, there are, at least in my opinion, it seems like they are doing their best to try and fix the game. And also, I'm more sympathetic because this year, 2020, and like, I'm sorry to bring it up, but it is the reality of the world. Like, the world is faced with a global pandemic, and it's had to force many companies and studios, and specifically in this instance, like video game companies and studios, I would imagine they're not able to work like they normally do. They probably had to, work from home and try and work together in teams, but through like, conference calls and Zoom calls, and like, maybe they weren't able to do the normal troubleshooting kind of process that they would normally do. So I'm sympathetic to that, and I can understand it, and that's why I wasn't so harsh about it. Like, because luckily you can still I was still able to replay other missions and still keep playing and have fun, but it was frustrating that I couldn't progress more. But now, like, there have been 2 huge updates to Avengers, and like, yeah, at least for me, they fixed the issue, and now I'm able to continue progressing the endgame mission chains, so I'm happy now, and it's good. And like I said, that's a benefit to that, how video games are now, that things can be fixed after launch. So like I said, it's something I've been thinking about lately, and it's like I said, I'm still not 100% sure where I fall on which is better, but who knows, maybe in the long run it's good that games can now, if they have like a serious bug or issue, can be fixed later. Because like I said, some of those old school games, the bugs and issues that exist in those games, they exist forever because they can't go back and change it. So, and ultimately nothing's perfect, no games are perfect, even as much troubleshooting and quality assurance testing you try to do before a game comes out, still there's probably gonna be stuff the developers miss or the programmers miss, and things happen. But it's like I said, ultimately, dang it, I missed with my whip. But I'm glad, like I said, that ultimately it seems like Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix, like, they care, and they're trying to make make the game better and make it a game worth your $60 or worth playing. And I know for some people who are less forgiving, you know, if your game is broken or messed up at launch, like, that's it for them. Like, they don't, you know, for them, they're like, hey, this should have been done at launch. And I get where they're coming from too. It's like, video games, you know, $60 is a lot of money. Maybe not for some, but maybe for a lot of people. For me, it is. And, like, you know, that's why I'm very selective about the games I purchase. And, you know, I get it. You know, when you pay money for something, any kind of product, you want your money's worth. So I get it. Like I said, there's multiple sides, or, you know, there's multiple opinions to these kind of topics and issues. So I try to, in general, look at, you know, the different sides and weigh the different opinions and, you know, make my own opinion. But in the end, like I said, I appreciate that Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix, that they are, at least I could be wrong, but from the outside looking in, it looks like they do care, and I'm glad they fixed the issues I was having, because now I can keep playing the game, and it's so much fun, and I enjoy it. And they even, like, I won't really go into spoiler details, but they even did some, like, gameplay changes to how Captain America plays, which really make him even better. And so it seems like they're willing to even do, like, balance changes to the game, kind of like a fighting game, because if you're familiar with fighting games, that's a part of it nowadays. It's like, you know, fighting games get updated with, like, balance changes, and, you know, that changes how each character plays, and, you know, can possibly make some characters more powerful or nerf others. But, you know, it's just interesting. As someone who's been playing video games literally since I was 3 years old, starting with the original Nintendo, and almost every console that's come out I've played at some point or owned, like, you know, video games are, you know, it's one of my main hobbies and passions, and, like, you know, I like to sometimes just think about how video games are progressing, and, like, I just thought of it too, something I was going to mention in a previous episode. I had brought up the Metal Gear Solid series, and, like, how the original Metal Gear Solid is a classic in my opinion, and it's so cinematic. And, like, I remember when I first played Metal Gear Solid, it was actually a friend of mine had, back in the day on PlayStation 1, they used to release demo discs, you know, with little demos of multiple games, and on it was Metal Gear Solid 1, and just, you know, playing just pretty much the intro portion of it, like, I was blown away by the game. Like, it was really the first game that I'd played that really had voice acting, and it was so cinematic, and it was, like, you know, a mature story, you know, and the characters were incredible. And, like, you know, I immediately fell in love with Solid Snake, because, like, I've said it before, is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. And, like, that game just, it truly opened my eyes to the possibility of what video games could be as, you know, an art form, as a medium. Like, I know for so long people only considered, you know, oh, might as well get this key. People, you know, considered video games for, like, kids, and, like, in a lot of people's minds, like, video games really, like, weren't capable of, you know, I guess, quote-unquote, like, real storytelling. But, you know, Metal Gear Solid, in my opinion, proved that they are fully capable of it. And, like, to me, it's like, I actually believe video games are more capable of telling an engaging story that can really have an emotional impact on you, because it's an interactive medium. Like, movies don't really have that, books don't really have that, like, TV shows, like, even music you listen to, like, you're not really interacting with the story, so to speak. Like, you're a passive audience, a passive viewer. But, like, video games, you are a part of it. Like, you are actually playing through the story, whether or not it's playing an RPG where it's essentially you make the character, you can make it you, or you're playing a game where, like, the character's already established. Like, you, in just some, like, subconscious way, you develop a connection to the character. You feel immersed in the game, and, like, that's why people always talk about that, like, feeling, you know, immersion. Like, do you feel like you are in the game? Like, do you feel like what's happening is happening to you? Like, That's why even, like, you know, horror games are so terrifying, especially if they're first person, because you feel like you are in the game. And I haven't even tried VR yet because, first of all, it's still expensive, and also I'm worried I might have, like, motion sickness with it. But I can only even imagine how terrifying, you know, like, for example, playing Resident Evil 7 in VR would be. That would be so scary because you'd feel like you're in that game. But, like, yeah, going back to my main point, like, for me, in my opinion, what is good art is just art that makes me feel something, that elicits an emotional response from me. Like, that is, in my opinion, good art. And how am I gonna do this? I'm not gonna use you, Monty. I thought about it. I'm sorry. For a moment I thought, oh, that's a bad habit I have right there of, like, trying to drop a rope, but I end up throwing it above. Sorry, Monty. Trying to drop a rope, but I end up, oops. Okay. Trying to drop a rope, but I end up throwing it above me. But yeah, long story short, from what I was talking about, yeah, like, to me, what I consider to be good art is just something that makes me feel something. And whether it be happiness, joy, anger, sadness, makes me cry, like, that to me is, like, you know, good art. It made me feel something. So thank you for listening to my long you know, discussion or lecture or whatever about the state of video games and, you know, video games as an art form and all these things. We're getting close to 30 minutes, but I'll keep going. And, you know, if I have to stop the episode, like, I'll just, you know, pick up where I left off. Surprisingly, this entire time I was kind of focused more on what I was saying and kind of just playing autopilot and looking at my resources, not too bad, and looking at my money, not as good as I was hoping, but we still have time to find more stuff. I might start even bringing ghost jars with me to the exit if I can. Because, yeah, cursed pot. Oh, that's what they're called. A clay pot filled with a toxic substance, rumored to be a mixture of ectoplasm and cursed blood. Ugh, creepy. Alright, at the very least, before this episode ends, I'm going to just try and get to the next area, or next stage. Okay, figured I'd go ahead and activate that. Alright, is it over to the left? Oh, there it is. Good. Okay. I'm kind of nervous of this guy. Well, do this real quick. Yoink! Alright. That worked. Alright. I'll just go ahead and end this episode here. Looks like 21,650. Okay, hopefully in the next episode I will really try to focus more on really paying attention to getting as much money as I can, because we're almost halfway to 50,000. We're making good progress. We still have plenty of stages to get more money, and like I said, I might start trying to grab those cursed pots, and as I just did, bring them with me to the end of the stage, break them open, grab that diamond, and then, you know, run to the exit before the ghost kills me. So, but like I've said throughout the series, sorry if this episode was not, you know, with all the funnies and the ha-has and the laughing and wackiness. Sometimes, you know, I feel like just talking to you guys about, you know, real stuff, being real with you guys and talking to you about things that are on my mind, and somehow I just started talking to you about, you know, how I feel the video game industry is, or how video games are nowadays, and video games legitimacy as an art form, and, like, you know, that's something I'm passionate about and I felt like talking about. So there you go. I thank you again if you're either new to this series or have been watching. Thank you so much. If you are liking my episodes, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment, you know, let me know how I'm doing. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I'm Mike, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.